You're listening to the I Have Dreams, Dammit podcast, a podcast about the realities of pursuing your dreams. I'm your host, Lisa Murray, and let's go. I can't stand how I say that. It's just driving me crazy. There's got to be another way to say it. And the dog is whining. Yay! Today's show is going to be awesome.
Live from Los Angeles, California, this is the Lisa Murray Show. And with your host, Lisa Murray.
The day I felt like I really started living.
I don't have enough money to start this business.
I'm so tired. I hate it. I'm working all the time.
I'm not inspired when I'm worried about money.
Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all.
I'm so sick of all these positive people talking about dreams. What about money? Like, how am I supposed to get the money?
What it's really about, it's about you pursuing what makes you come alive. It's about continually connecting with that energy and just keep doing that. Keep going towards that. That's what it's about. I need to give up. There's too many obstacles. I can't take this shit anymore. Ships are safe in the harbor, but that's not what ships are built for.
It feels really good to be my own boss.
I have dreams, damn it!
Okay, so yeah, here we are. It's the end of April. We made it through the fourth month of 2019. How are you? I am feeling much better. I still have allergies, so I'm still a little bit congested, but the violent coughing has stopped and the high level of congestion is gone. So yay, I'm back to myself. Just a couple announcements. I did want to tell you guys, if you're interested in film, that I do have a film festival that I'm starting called the Ag and Art Film Festival. I'm sure you've heard me talk in the ads. And it's basically agriculture and art film festival. I'm really involved in some agriculture stuff going on in Northern California through my friend's winery. And also I love art. So I thought, let's put the two together and see what happens. But I've been getting some really neat submissions and from all over the world. It's really cool. And the very first one was actually ag and art mixed together. And I was like bawling. I was totally crying because it's just like this surreal feeling when you put something out into the world and it comes back to you so perfectly, or that you know someone else out there is feeling what you're saying. Because I mean, if they made a film that featured agriculture and art and they were like doing that probably for a year minimum, and they were putting all their resources into it and all their creativity and everything. And then they're like, oh, the Ag and Art Film Festival. And then they enter their film. We're like on some similar wavelength, right? Because what? Like we don't even know each other. And it just reminds me of Horton Hears a Who, Dr. Seuss, and how we can be in our own world. And the people in our world may not really respond to some of our ideas. And they're kind of like, oh, agriculture and art. Okay, that sounds cool. But sometimes it takes someone that you don't even know on the other side of the earth that just resonates with something that you're doing, your art, something you put out into the world. Like for me, this film festival. So it's just really neat. And I just want to encourage anyone that hasn't started yet, really putting what they want out into the world. Do it, because it's like the coolest feeling. When I first started YouTube in 2006, it was just to upload videos while I worked at my day job, and how I was managing everything, kind of everything I talk about now in my podcast. And back then people could submit video responses. So, you get like people replying under your video. Well, back then people could actually send a video response, which back then was like amazing. Because like most people, hardly anybody had a webcam or anything. And even if they did have it, it was real dedication to really wait to upload a video. Like now there's such high-speed internet and everybody has incredible cameras on their phones and all of that. But in 2006, you had to be into it to do it. Like you had to really be like, I'm doing this. And there was a handful of us weirdos on YouTube that did these blog styles, and we would like shout each other out. And it was really fun. And some of them have blown up and done big, big things. Some people have done like medium things. And some people are still going, like doing whatever they're doing. And it's just really cool. It's really neat to see it. But I want to tell you about the video blogs because in one of my videos, I was talking about Horton Hears a Who and how when they're like, chanting in that bigger world to Horton, they're saying, boil that dust speck. Because Horton, if you don't know, I know there's probably some people out there listening to this who don't know. So Horton is an elephant, and I guess he has big ears, and because he's amazing, he hears this guy trying to talk to him on a dust speck on a flower. Nobody else in his world can hear it, but he can hear it because he has really incredible, hearing. So he's telling the guy in the dust speck, you're going to have to be louder because they think I'm crazy and they want to boil the dust speck. So I don't know what you have to do, but try to get louder. So in this little world, it's Whoville. It's actually a really whole town. Like it's a whole town of people. And it's the crazy scientist guy that was speaking out of his little device that is the one who made the contact with Horton. And it's from Whoville. And so Horton Hears a Who. That's where that comes from. But, and it makes me think of people who are trying to like connect with aliens or people in the universe. And most of us just go, oh, that's that crazy guy trying to talk to aliens or whatever. But it's similar. I mean, that's really what the story is. Horton is an alien to Whoville. So, anyways, it's a long story. Or it's not a long story because it's a Dr. Seuss story. But basically, they get everybody in Whoville to yell at the same time. And finally, the people in Horton's world can hear them. And now they don't want to boil the dust speck. Now they're like, oh my God, there's people there. Don't hurt them. So anyways, so I was talking about that story and how amazing it is. And then I think like the next morning or whatever, I woke up and I checked YouTube and there was a guy. I was in LA and he was in New York and he had uploaded a video response to me. And I was like, what? It was the weirdest, because you always know that, oh, there's 71 people that have viewed my video or 7,000 or whatever it is. And then, oh, I have 20 comments. And, back then it was a big deal. So every single thing, and maybe it's a big deal now. I mean, if it isn't a big deal, then you're not really paying attention because you are broadcasting a message or a joke or a beautiful sunset or something funny that your kid or your dog does or whatever. You're sharing something in your world with the world, and you never know who's going to see it. And then if someone sees it and they put a comment under that, that's pretty amazing. And then if they actually send you a video, it's even more amazing. So anyways, that was so cool because it really validated that. I mean, this guy, I probably would have, I don't even know if we would have been friends in real life. He did like computer animation. He still does, but he watched my videos. And I'm like, what? Like, how do you even find me? Like, what? And I'm still friends with him like through YouTube to this day. Cause I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. Next week's show is going to be the inspiration episode. Everything about inspiration. And how do you keep your passion and your connection, your excitement for your dream, and just even the creative inspiration. How do you keep that alive? How do you protect it? How do you feed it? And how do you manage it? And so I have some ideas. I'm going to share with you some of the things that I do and how I can stay connected to stuff. And I also want to hear from you. I think it'd be really great to share the listeners of this podcast, your voices and what you do to stay inspired, to keep doing what you do, whatever it is, whether it's you want to be a mom or you want to run a cafe or you're a painter or you're a singer, whatever. I don't know, whatever it is, what is it that keeps you inspired? What do you do? I want practical things. And also, it doesn't have to be practical, but I definitely want practical things. So for instance, I spend time in nature. Like right now I'm doing a lot of video editing because remember I had to catch up on all the video production. So I was filming, and after all the rain, but then after you film, you've got to edit. And there's only so much creativity that I can put out before I need to kind of refill the part of me that's inspired, especially now that I'm doing this so completely, fully as like my job. And it's like I have to manage it even more so. Because before it was like I was always working at a job and then I would do the stuff that I really wanted to do, film, editing, photography, website design, all that kind of stuff. I was doing that as I could. But now I do that. That's what I do. And so it's different. I have to really manage that creativity and that love I have for it. Otherwise, it starts to feel very dreary. And I don't know. I can't describe it, but I will describe it next week in next week's show. So I want to invite you to send me an email or send me a message on Instagram or tweet me and just let me know, what do you do to stay inspired or what inspires you? So listening to a certain podcast might inspire you, like a podcast with a girl named Lisa, not mine. Oh my God, you guys thought I was talking about mine. No, oh my God, that'd be so embarrassing. No. Okay, maybe mine. But listen, whatever it is, whatever keeps you inspired. Like, every Friday night, you take like a bath and you have bubble fizzy things, whatever they're called, and you light candles and you listen to operatic music. I don't know, whatever it is. You go for a walk or you go hiking or you read books by your favorite author, whatever it is. I want to hear from you. So you can send me an email at ihavedreamsdammit@gmail.com, or you can send me a message on Instagram, and you can send it to the podcast Instagram, which is I Have Dreams Dammit, or to me personally, which is Sky Girl Pics. And all the links will be in the show notes. So if you don't get something I'm saying, just check there. And it's also on ihavedreamsdammit.com. And if you go to this episode, which is episode number 11, it'll be there as well. But yeah, I really want to hear from you. You can also tweet me at Lisa Murray, LisaMurray. So if you'd like me to include your name, just your first name or your full name, or your Twitter handle or your Instagram account, please let me know that, because I want to make sure I include whatever information you would like me to include, and I don't include what information you don't want me to include. But I'd also like to know, what is it that you work on? Like, what's your dream? What's the thing that you love? And then tell me what you do to stay inspired with that. And I cannot wait to hear from you. Not only will I love hearing from you, I'll love adding your beautiful voices and inspirations to next week's episode. So make sure you do that before, I would have to say Sunday night, because I need Monday to edit and upload. So before next Sunday night, let's see what the date on next Sunday night is. Okay. Oh, we're already into May by then, aren't we? Oh my gosh. Okay, so Cinco de Mayo. That's when it has to be. So make sure you email me, you voicemail me, message me, whatever you want to do, and before midnight on Cinco de Mayo, and May 5th, and I will. I just can't wait to hear from you guys. It's gonna be awesome. Thank you. Do you love going to farm stands and buying fresh from the farm produce? Do you have to pull over on road trips to pet a cow? No? Okay, maybe that last part's just me. Regardless, we can all agree on our love for all things agriculture. And how about art? Don't you love watching films about artists, painters, singers, dancers, musicians? Coming in September is the Ag and Art Film Festival in Vacaville, California, and they are open for entries. So if you have a film, a narrative, a documentary, a short, or a feature, if you're a student or if you're a pro, this is your chance to show your film to the world. And by the world, I mean Vacaville, California. But still, it's going to be awesome. Visit agandartfilmfestival.com for more information, and you can submit your film exclusively on filmfreeway.com. So this is going to be a short podcast. Well, I wanted it to be short, but then when I'm doing all the intro and the notes and everything, I'm like, okay, we're back up to being a normal size. So sorry about that. But all I really want to talk about this week, and like this has just been pounding away in my head. And I'm like, okay, someone must need this message because it's coming through so strongly. But whatever characteristics got you to where you are right now, and whether that means you're in a good place with your career, like you've broken through some basic barriers and you're doing it, but you're not exactly where you want to be yet, but you're in the thick of it. Or if you haven't fully started yet, you're still kind of teetering around with it, and maybe you haven't really made that jump yet. And you haven't done something that you know you really want to do, or you haven't achieved a level that you really want to achieve. You have to change. And this is the number one thing that I will tell everybody. And I think, honestly, this lesson has been drilled into me from losing people that were close to me and how much it changed me. And I see that now so clearly that we have to change. And sometimes life will force us to change. But I just want to tell you in words, without it having to be a negative situation for you. I'm telling you, everything you want is on the other side of whatever it is you say you don't want to do. So, like, I literally just think the thing that we want to do is wrapped. It's wrapped in our fear. And I used to think, because I was always trying to figure it out, like if I'm following my intuition, then it shouldn't feel like fear. And as I would get closer to something I really wanted to do, I would have this intense fear reaction to it. And it didn't feel like fear. It felt like mental confusion, detachment, sort of like all of a sudden I wasn't really connected to it. Like that's how my fear manifests sometimes in some situations. So it was like the closer I got to what I really wanted, it was like wrapped in kryptonite for me. And I would get close to it and then I would give it up because it didn't feel like I thought it was going to feel. And last week I talked about your dream versus reality. And this is sort of like a part 2 to that, but really it could be like a precursor to last week's show, because when we get close to the thing that we really want, our deep-seated fears that we're not even conscious of will actually change what it feels like to be that close to our dream, so that we will not believe we are close to our dream, or we will subconsciously sabotage something about it. It won't feel right. We won't like it. We'll just become very detached to it. And we'll go, oh yeah, I don't really like, filming all the time. I don't even really like it. I'm not really into that. Every time I'd start to get close on something that I really loved, some part of me would start pulling that. Like, oh, I don't really like it. I mean, it's cool sometimes. It's like, but the rest of me is always like, I'm living for this. This is what I want more than anything in the world. I'd give anything to get this opportunity. And then cut to me having the opportunity and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it's cool, but I don't really need it. It's like, what is going on? And it's like, I can see it now. I can see the pattern of what happened to me, because I can also see this exact same pattern happening to everybody that I know. I always see people going through this. I know you have too. So maybe you don't see it in yourself, but think about people that you know. Whenever they start to get close to something that they said they wanted, how do they act? Like, do they kind of go like, oh yeah, it wasn't really as great as I thought it was going to be, or some kind of weird stuff. And it's like, what is that? Like, maybe it isn't that great. Maybe we put it on a pedestal and it'll never live up to whatever it is that we said or thought we wanted. Maybe it was a scapegoat dream. We thought it was going to be some thing that was going to make life perfect. And when it doesn't make life perfect, we're like, oh, it's not really that great. I mean, it is great, but it's not going to take away all your problems. It's just going to feel like you're living in unison with something that is inside of you. That's what it should feel like. I'm not going to go too deep into the whole fear thing right now. I'm going to dedicate an entire episode to that. So set that aside. Just picture your dream is wrapped in a blanket and the blanket is fear. So set that over there. Regardless of that, whatever, even if you don't understand, what do you mean, Lisa? What do you mean fear? I'm not afraid of it. I want it. I've been working towards it my whole life. Okay, cool. Let's have this conversation at another time. So set that over on the side and just remember what I'm saying. Okay, boop, 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 put it over there. What I want to say tonight, the number one message I want to get to you is that you have to change. You have to change if you want to get what you want. If you want the life that you want, and if you want the career that you want, or if you want to put your art into the world, or you want to run a business, or whatever it is, the same qualities that got you to where you are right now. Like maybe you're the type of person that always is very practical and safe, and so you have a really great job and you've got benefits and all this stuff, but deep down inside, you're really unhappy, you're unfulfilled, you feel like there's something more that you're supposed to be doing, you don't know what it is, and you know there are certain things you do, like maybe you're a chef and you love cooking and you've dabbled in culinary school, but then you dropped out and you got that safe job, but you haven't stopped thinking about, like, I really just want to open my own little crepe place. I want to have crepes, whatever that is, right? The thing that got you the safe job and the benefits and all that kind of stuff, that characteristic in you is also the one that's going to stop you from being able to open up your crepe shop. So two totally different psychological makeups. And sometimes your business, like let's say you wanted to start a business, and as your business starts to grow, you actually sabotage it because you don't want to hire people. And the only way you're going to be able to handle the growing number of customers or orders or whatever it is if you hire people. But you don't want to hire people. You're never going to be successful. But if you're not aware of the fact that you're even doing that, and you literally think like, I don't know what happens, I'm just not doing it. We need like a dream forensics team to go in and talk to people, because I always feel like when I talk to people, I can kind of start to figure out why it isn't happening. Like, what is the thing that you don't want to do? What's the thing you don't want to face? And, the person will be like, well, I just don't want to deal with investors, or I just don't want to deal with employees. Whatever that is, it's pretty much going to be the thing that because you're resisting that, that's why you're not going to be really where you want to be. And sometimes being very headstrong and stubborn is what gets you through all the beginning parts of it. Like imagine a seed inside of a shell. The energy that takes the life force that's inside of that seed to break through that shell and to break through the darkness of the soil and just keep pushing up, even though it's all dark, and it keeps pushing, 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 boom, it sees the sunlight. That energy is totally different than the energy that's going to make the plant thrive later. It's not the same energy. It's got to do different things. It's got to know how to, deal with the sun, deal with rain, deal with, different seasons, and deal with fruit and deal with flowers. And there's just a whole different slew of things that are going to happen for that plant. Does that make what happened when it was a seed wrong? No. It needed to do that to get out of the darkness, to go from inside of the seed out into the world. And that's just like with our dreams. Sometimes it takes this certain bullheadedness and just not even thinking about all the consequences and just doing it. That energy was what made it so that we got to where we got. It's great. But I think people keep trying to use that same energy. And the reason why I know that is because I did that. And I kept pushing like bulldozer vibe, like constantly pushing, pushing, pushing. And I'm like, I feel more miserable. I feel tired. I'm not making any more money. I'm not where I want to be in my career. And I feel like I'm constantly pushing myself. Why aren't I happy? And it's like, because I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. This whole thing is wrong. I've got to change it up. And I need to take care of myself better. And yeah, it feels weird all of a sudden in the middle of trying to do this thing that has sort of become a mission. I've become like this heat-seeking missile type thing, trying to get to it. Like, I'm going to get to this point where I'm like living my dream. And it starts to become a little too intense. And it's like you need to downshift. You need to change it up. You need to do things differently. You don't have to work harder. You have to work smarter. You have to adjust to the environment. You have to meet the problems of the environment head on. You can't be in denial. You can't be in denial of who you are and what is holding you back. You've got to be willing to rip the lid off and look at everything, including everything inside of yourself. You have to be honest. And I need you to do that. If you're listening to this, you're meant to hear this message. You need to get honest with yourself. Journal, ask people, write out a chart of all the things you don't want to do. All the things that you're afraid of that are connected to your dream, write them all out. Because the only way you're really going to get to where you want to go with everything is if you're honest. In the beginning, you don't have to be honest. That's what I was saying. Like, you just have to be crazy and just keep going towards it. But there comes a point where you need to stop being that crazy energy and you need to have consciousness. You need to have mindfulness. You need to be aware. You need to look inside yourself. Look outside yourself. Look all around and try to figure it out. I remember years ago, I went to this workshop at a bookstore and I don't remember anything. I don't even remember the name and it just drives me nuts. But I do remember the concept, and I guess that's the most important thing. But it was basically they were talking about this ancient Egyptian technique of goal synthesis. And what you do is you basically synthesize in your fears into the wording of your goal or your dream. So let's say I want to lose weight and get in shape. And you're like, yep, I'm doing that. And you have, you've cut out things on your vision board and I've done all these things, right? Something always sabotages it. Something's always messing it up and I don't really realize what's going on. So I would sit down and say, what are my fears about being in shape? Okay, well, I would think people think I'm superficial, that I'm shallow, that I'm bitchy. Like, I'm afraid of that. And so I write all that down. And I'm afraid that like certain guys will hit on me and I won't know how to deal with it without making them angry or hurting their feelings. That's another thing. I mean, I'm not saying they're rational. I'm just saying these are things. Okay. So basically what I do is I say, I want to be in top physical condition at my ideal weight. And I want to be grounded and down to earth and friendly and warm and present. And I want to be thoughtful in my words and my actions with people that I find myself in the company of. So see how I'm synthesizing in those fears into my now dream, because then you're taking the energy and you're neutralizing it. You're getting it, like it's done. Like now I'm saying, well, I want to be down to earth and approachable, and I want to be confident but aware of my effect on others. So it's taken away that fear, and now I can feel a shift in the energy. So try that. Try writing down what your fears are. Like, I want to have this company, I want to run this business, but I really don't want, employees that are going to show up late or try to sue me. I don't know. Like, I don't know what kind of fears are lurking inside of you. I mean, there might be some interesting ones. You're like, I had no idea I was afraid of that. So write it all down and then rewrite out your goal. So I want to be a person that sells my art on the internet and has consistent postings on Instagram, but isn't cheesy or disconnected or snooty or whatever. I have warm, helpful, inspiring art pieces, and it's done in a way that leaves me feeling energized and not drained. And, just synthesizing all the things. Because I know, like, some people are like, oh, God, once I start doing all this stuff on Instagram, then I constantly have to check Instagram, and then I won't be at peace. So write that down and synthesize that into your goal, into the positive. Give that a try. Let me know what you think. Because I try to do that. I don't always do it, but I try to do it. If I notice something keeps blocking me, I'm thinking, I'm the one that, well, maybe not me, but the dream is supposed to make me feel good. It's supposed to be this thing that's really great. So if there's a fear or there's something like that, then it's got to be something that I can synthesize into something positive. So give that a try. But you seriously are going to have to change something. And like for me, I think it's really hard for me to do video production or any kind of creative thing for clients. That's always been my kryptonite. That's been the thing that I've always been like, oh God, I don't think I could do that, because it takes a whole nother set of psychology and different way to use my creativity. Like I like to do stuff on spec. Like I'll create it. If you love it, then great. So I'll create a video. I'll put it up online. If people like it, great. If it goes viral, great, or whatever. Like Free Hugs in Hollywood. I didn't come up with a concept, but I shot Free Hugs in Hollywood. You can Google that and go on YouTube. Free Hugs in Hollywood. And, it's like Yahoo put it on their homepage. I couldn't believe it at Christmas time. And I was like, wait, what's happening? My phone was blowing up. I was getting all these messages. And they basically put my video on there. And then they gave me a Yahoo Veti award, because Yahoo used to have this whole video section. And so then they gave me a Veti award. They sent me some stuff, and it was really cool. I was like, wow, like best documentary, and made me feel really good. Nobody hired me to do that video. I did it because I needed positivity in my life at that time. And I saw this guy named Juan Man who started this Free Hugs movement. And I was like, and I looked up, and has anyone done it in Hollywood? Nope. Okay. And I live right near Hollywood. So I'm like, I'm going to do it. So I went out there with some friends and filmed it, edited it, put it online. And then it was featured, and I was hoping it was always going to be featured on YouTube, but it never was. And of course, it's like standard definition. This is before high def cameras. So it didn't hold up too well, but I'll have to revisit the original footage and see if I can do something to it. But it's still cute. So check it out. Free Hugs in Hollywood. Anyway, so I did that because I felt like doing it. And then something good came from it. And I also got interviewed in a Chicken Soup for the Soul book, the one on manifesting. I'll put the link in the show notes. So if you're interested in finding that book, I was interviewed about making the Free Hugs in Hollywood video. And then they put that story in the Chicken Soup for the Soul book. Kind of interesting. So, a lot of stuff came from that. It was really interesting. But that's what I'm saying. That was my vibe. That was my comfort zone. That's where I thrive. That's what I love. I love to create stuff and then people resonate with it. But I also wanted to make money for one, because Free Hugs in Hollywood's no money. But I wanted to make money doing creative stuff and doing what I love to do, which is like create videos and creative projects. But when it came time to dealing with clients, I noticed it would change me. I would feel so uncomfortable. I wasn't as comfortable as I was when I was doing the Free Hugs video. That was fun and comfortable. This was something, when it first started, it was like out of my comfort zone. I'm like, what is this? And I don't like it. I don't like talking about the money. Sometimes when there's creative feedback, people aren't very good at knowing how to give creative people feedback. And it can come across as very harsh or rude. And I can tell they don't really know what they're saying. They don't really even know what they're talking about. But anyways, in the beginning, it used to mortify me. I used to be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And it made me sick. And it was that fear wrapped around it. It made me sick, and I would push away from it, and I wouldn't do it for a long time. And I would do anything. I would dig ditches before I would do that because it was so uncomfortable. And then I would be drawn to it again. And then as I got close, and then I got really close to it, boom, the weird vibe again. And then I would feel just kind of nauseous and disgusted and like uncomfortable. So then I would retreat back from that again. And this just kept going on and on until one day I was like, this is either I want to do video production for people or I don't. Like I need to make a decision. And if I'm going to, then I need to invest in myself, and I need to develop some skills to be able to deal with what happens to me when I deal with people who are clients. Like I have to develop some skill set to deal with that, because it's just not working out that I keep starting to do it and then pulling away, starting to do it and pulling away. Like I either need to do it and figure out how to get myself through that, or not do it and stop doing that and just make Free Hugs in Hollywood type stuff. That's it. So I'm in the phase right now where I'm learning all the things I need to be in myself and how I need to back myself up and inspire myself and stay grounded and situated and all that as I deal with clients. And it's a journey. So I know, like, if you're the type of person that you have to deal with the public, like you have a restaurant and you deal with customers, it's amazing when someone's like, oh my God, this is like the best whatever I've ever had. Best pie. Oh my God. And you're like, I knew it. I knew I was good. And then someone else goes, like on Yelp, like, ew, the pie was disgusting. It was dry. And I thought there'd be like at least 7 slices of apple, and there was only like maybe 5. And you're like, what? Like, this was my dream, and I worked so hard for it, and I gave everything I had for it. And this jerk came in and says that this stuff, like, talking about my pie like that? Like, what? I mean, it does. It affects you. It makes you want to give up. It makes you never want to do it. It's serious. But we have to change. And that's the good thing about going for our dreams. It's not the bad thing. We change and we evolve. Or we don't go there. We stop and we give up. You either change and evolve or you give up on that. And for me, that wasn't an option. You know, I tried to give up. Believe me, this thing stuck to me. After everybody died, I was like, I don't even want to do this. And then it came back like, Jason in Friday the 13th opened its dream eye. And there I was, right back to following my dream. I'm like, oh my God, I thought you were dead. Anyways, that's it for today's show. I hope that this resonates with someone. And remember to do goal synthesis. Be very honest with yourself and really think about what are the things that you keep stopping yourself. Whether, just think about it. Just think, at what point do you stop? What does it feel like when you stop? Why do you stop? Do you just fade out? You don't even really know what happens. Next thing you know, you're back to doing something different. And you're like, wait, whatever happened to that mural I was going to do? Like the whole mural idea. Like, what happens to you when you start to go for it and you get kind of close to it? Be honest and think about it and write it down. And then also, I want to hear from you for next week's show, the inspiration episode. Send me an email at ihavedreamsdammit@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, you guys. I hope you have a great week. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you about what keeps you inspired. Next week's The Inspiration Show. And so I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great week. Stay inspired. Be honest with yourself. Write everything down. Goal synthesis, blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. Bye.